There is this thing where sometimes people treat evidence like it is insurance. They keep it because it feels safer. They hoard it because they are afraid of being wrong. And they assume more coverage is better coverage. It is not. Because evidence does not make arguments safer. It makes them sharper. And sharp arguments require decisions. I'm Nick. This is Dr. Cranky Pants Teaches, and evidence is not about protection. It is, however, about justification. One of the fastest ways doctoral students get overwhelmed is by confusing relevance with volume. They read something peer-reviewed and feel obligated to keep it. They read something highly cited and feel irresponsible for letting it go. They read something adjacent to their topic and tell themselves it might matter later. And later turns into stacks of PDFs and an argument that never quite comes into focus. And that is not because you are bad at research. It's because no one teaches you how evidence actually functions in an argument. Evidence does not matter on its own. It matters because of what it allows you to reasonably claim. That is the standard. Evidence is not relevant because it is peer-reviewed, highly cited, or recent. Evidence is relevant because it does work. It supports a claim, or it challenges a claim, or it forces a claim to be limited or revised. And everything else is just background noise. Peer review is necessary. It filters out some problems, but it does not decide relevance for you. Relevance is not a property of a study. It is a relationship between evidence and claim. And this is where most literature reviews quietly go wrong, because they treat evidence as something to collect instead of something to evaluate. So let's name the standards that actually matter. The first is relevance, a word I've said so many times in this video already. Ask yourself this very plain question. What claim does this evidence actually speak to? And if you can't answer that, then this isn't evidence that belongs in your argumentation yet. It might, maybe not forever, but just not here, right now, at this point in time. The second standard is sufficiency. And sufficiency is not volume. It means you have enough evidence of the right kind to justify the strength of the claim you are making. So remember when we talked about systematic literature reviews and systemic literature reviews? This has to do with sufficiency, because sometimes one strong study can be sufficient. 10 loosely connected ones rarely are. And the third standard is credibility. Now, credibility is not prestige. It is fit. Methodological rigor, it matters, but only in relation to what the claim requires. Different claims require different kinds of evidence. And the fourth standard is scope, because every piece of evidence travels a certain distance and no farther, across contexts, across populations, across conditions. And good arguments respect those limits instead of pretending they do not exist. And this is where obligations matter, because if your argument is accountable to a problem of practice, context matters. Evidence that explains conditions of implementation, adaptation, and constraint often does more work than large-scale outcome studies with no explanation. And that kind of evidence helps you reason forward inside of a real system. If your argument is accountable to a field, conceptual clarity matters. Evidence that sharpens constructs, tests theoretical assumptions, or resolves tensions across studies earn its place. Highly cited work still has to do something for your claim. Different emphases, same standards. Relevance, sufficiency, credibility, and scope. Now, here's the discipline that holds all of this together. If you cannot articulate what a piece of evidence changes about how you understand your claim, you should question why you are keeping it. Is it truly evidence? That doesn't mean that the study is bad. It means it is not doing work in this argument. Because you are not supposed to cover everything. You are not supposed to read every possible study. Your job is not completeness. Your job is justification. A literature review is not a museum. It is an argument, and arguments require evidence that earns its place. So before you save another PDF, pause. Ask yourself, what claim does this evidence support, challenge, or qualify? Is it sufficient for the strength of that claim? And what limits does it introduce? If you can answer those questions, keep it. If you cannot, set it aside until you know what job it would do. If you skip this step, your literature review will slowly turn into a storage unit. And storage units do not persuade anyone. If this made evidence feel less like something to hoard and more like something to judge, that matters. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one.